Welcome to the IELTS Success Summit YouTube channel. I'm Jeff, and I just want you to know this is where you can discover everything you need to know to get the score you need on the IELTS exam. And you're especially in the right place right now if you want to make sure that you get the score you need in one attempt, because it doesn't always happen. You know, that's right. Most, over half, aren't successful when it comes to achieving the results that they desire. It's a situation that's all too common. You take your test thinking you're ready, and a few days later, you receive your results. And the main reason is you're not ready. So the question for today is, are you ready? Are you ready to take the IELTS exam? Let's just take a look at some statistics. If you're like over 50% of the test takers, over 5 million test takers every year, your overall band score will be 5.5 or less. You won't have what you need to get into the university of your choice. And I've met so many students who have taken the exam at least 5 or more times trying to get the score they need. And it's so disappointing. It's so discouraging. But you know what? It's absolutely avoidable. It doesn't have to happen to you. Because over the past few years, I've helped hundreds of students get the score they need on the IELTS exam. It's because I have a solution to the problem. And the solution is a clear preparation strategy. And from my experience, I'm going to share the best approach to preparing for the IELTS exam. I want to share exactly what you need to include in your strategy, a course to make sure you're ready on test day, so that you won't become one of these statistics. You'll be one of those above average students who does get the score you need on your first try. Well, there's 4 essential elements that need to be a part of your plan as you prepare. So let's get started and talk about these 4 things. You need the right attitude. You need to go in the right direction, and you need to go at the right pace, and you need to make real progress. So here we go. The first step in your preparation is to have the right mindset. This means having the right attitude and the right approach. It's knowing this: your attitude is directly linked to your abilities. And with this perspective, you can approach your preparation with confidence and competence. So let's talk about confidence first. Confidence isn't just something that magically appears. Confidence is developed. It starts with taking an honest look at where you are now and where you want to be. And even if you don't feel confident now, as you prepare and take steps towards your goal, you will build your confidence over the course of your preparation. So on test day, there will be no doubt in your mind that you are ready to succeed. And as you begin to take the steps to practice and build your confidence, something else happens. You become more competent. As your attitude improves, so does your abilities. As your confidence level increases, so does your competence. That's why this strategy that I'm sharing with you right now is so effective. I want to share a simple formula with you for having an honest evaluation of your attitude and your abilities. It's called a SWOT analysis, and it's a simple but important exercise to do right at the beginning of your preparation. You see, with every endeavor and project that you face, it's important to consider four things: your strengths and weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So let's get started by talking about strengths. The first thing you want to do is identify your strengths. For example, how's your English? Is it at the level that it needs to be? One of the ways that you can do this is to take an English language assessment test. You can find free tests online, and taking one is a good first step. You want to make sure your English is at a high, intermediate, or advanced level. And what about your test-taking skills? Are you familiar with every aspect of the IELTS exam? Do you know the criteria and requirements for getting the score you need? Again, one of the best ways to have a realistic plan for improvement is to take a mock test and see how your current results compare to the results you need. You'll discover that there are sections and question types that you are already really strong in. But with these assessments, you will also discover the areas you are weak in. And this leads to the next point: your weaknesses. You know, the greatest benefit from taking an English language assessment and IELTS mock test is that you will clearly identify your weaknesses. Now, let me tell you why this is so important. Identifying your weaknesses and making them the focus of your preparation is actually how you can improve the fastest. So think of this example. You have a large bucket, and it has the capacity to hold a lot of water. But there's a problem. The bucket has a couple of holes in it. Maybe there's a crack. And you may have a big, strong bucket, but if there's one tiny hole or crack, the bucket will never hold as much water as it has the potential to hold. But if the holes are repaired and patched, it will hold as much water as it's capable of. So if you approach your weaknesses as holes in your bucket and you focus on repairing those weaknesses and patch those holes, you will be operating at your full potential on test day. So if you identify a weakness in your English language ability, don't be discouraged. Be encouraged. You've discovered a key to rapid improvement. So focus on that. And if you identify a test-taking skill that could be better, work on that. So identify your weaknesses and put your focus on them. What about opportunities? Why is it so important to think about opportunities? Because this is where you'll find your motivation for preparing. So look to the future. What are the opportunities that success on the IELTS exam will bring you? Is it the university of your choice? Is it a successful and satisfying career? Is it a new life in a new country? Well, list them and write them down. Picture them in your mind and form a vision for your future. And then look at where you are right now. What are the opportunities that you have right now to make the most of your IELTS preparation? You know, maybe you're a student still living at home. You have the support of your family and the opportunity to focus on your preparation without any financial concerns. Or you might be married and have a family and know that as you prepare, you have the love and support of someone who's going to encourage you and share that dream with you. So ask yourself, what is happening in my life that makes this time and place the best opportunity to prepare and get the score I need for the IELTS exam? And unfortunately, it won't always be smooth sailing. Inevitably, there will be obstacles and barriers that stand in the way. And these are the threats. There will be things that seem to threaten your ability to achieve the success that you desire. Maybe you feel like you have no support or help. Or maybe you're really busy at work or your studies and you wonder where you'll find the time to prepare. Or maybe you're thinking about how tired you already are after a long day of work. Where will you find the energy? Because you have a family to take care of. How can you balance the needs of your family with your need to prepare for the IELTS exam? And there may be financial threats. Maybe you need help and you're wondering how you could afford a teacher or a course to help you prepare. Well, you know, I can't begin right now to give you the answers or to solve your specific problems. And maybe you can't even see the answers for yourself right now. But write down the threats. Write down the things that seem to be standing in the way. And this is why the right mindset is so important. The right attitude. The right mindset is where you're telling yourself that by taking the time to do this SWOT analysis, by taking the time to recognize your strengths and weaknesses, by taking the time to recognize your opportunities and your threats, you will find a solution. And I can tell you confidently that if you take this first step to analyze your current attitude and your abilities, you will be able to overcome them with the right strategy, and a step-by-step strategy that will enable you to overcome any obstacles that stand in your way and make sure that you're set up for success, not only on the IELTS exam, but also for all your future successes. So in the comments section of this video, I've included a link to a free worksheet that you can use to do your SWOT analysis. So once you have the right mindset, once you've recognized the attitude and the abilities required, the second step is to have a map. You want to make sure that you're heading in the right direction. And this is where you want to decide the actual steps that will lead you to success on the IELTS exam. In other words, now that you've taken the time to do your SWOT analysis and realized your current situation, it's time to move forward to your destination. And the simple explanation is you just need to know where you're going. Lewis Carroll, the creator of the story Alice in Wonderland, said that if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. But if you know where you want to go, it's time to create the map. And if you're not as old as me, think of it as creating a GPS system for your preparation. And when it comes to success on the IELTS exam, it starts with a goal. What score do you need to get into the university of your choice? So make sure you've done your homework. Okay. Make sure you've done your homework, you've done your research, and you're absolutely clear on the requirements you need. The same is true if you're looking to take your career to a new country, or if you're seeking to emigrate and live abroad. make sure what IELTS exam you need to take. Is it general or academic? And then make sure of the score you need. Be absolutely clear on your destination before you start the journey. Set your goal. So let me give you a couple of guidelines for doing this. First, simply write down the score you need. And then second, make sure you know the criteria needed to achieve that score. You need to understand exactly what the IELTS exam is asking of you. You want to make sure you know the skills that you will need to develop. Things like time management, scheduling, and planning. And if you'd like a more in-depth overview of the skills that are required for the IELTS exam, I've also provided a link in the comments to my free PDF, 8 Essential Skills for the IELTS exam. And if you subscribe to this channel, you'll find dozens of videos that can help you with specific areas of the IELTS exam. So be sure to subscribe to this channel for all the information that you need. So let me just remind you of a couple of things that you will need to know. The IELTS exam will be testing 4 areas: your listening, reading, writing, and speaking abilities. Okay, so you'll want to make sure that you know how to handle each section of the IELTS exam. But you'll also want to make sure that you have your English skills where they need to be in each of these areas. You'll want to make sure what your level of English needs to be to get the score you need. Okay, so for example, to get a 6.5 overall band score on the IELTS exam, you need to have a high B2 level. For a 7, you're required to have a C1 level. So let me mention again how important it is to know where you are now by doing those 2 things that I've already talked about. Right from the outset, from the beginning of your preparation, assess your English language ability and know where you are now. Also do a mock test and recognize the areas you need to improve on the IELTS exam. Then once you've identified your weaknesses and where to focus, make sure your preparation map includes working on those specific areas. Make sure that the direction of your map clearly outlines the places where you will need to spend extra time. And even though you're moving in the right direction, you may want to take some time to slow down and spend a little more time and not travel so quickly. So once you know where you're going, it will not only give you your destination and the road you need to get there, it will also give you the best idea of how long it will take you to get there. And this will make sure you avoid the biggest problem and my whole reason for creating this lesson. And it's this: don't book your exam before you're ready. Don't expect to complete a 3-month journey in 3 weeks or 3 days, okay? So that leads to the next point, and that's to go at the right pace for you. And now let me stress this again. You will need to be able to predict accurately and realistically how long it will take you to prepare. And the way to do this is to schedule your time with clear objectives. So let's just recap one more time. You have the right mindset, the right attitude. You know what you're facing. You know your abilities. and you've determined the best way to approach your preparation confidently and competently. You've taken the time to set your goal and know your destination, and also what level you'll need in your English language ability and test taking skills. So this simply means setting your schedule, what you will do, the steps that you will take daily, weekly, and monthly. So first of all, get a monthly calendar and set a realistic date. Is it 6 months from now? 3 months? 4 weeks? Whatever it is, mark it on your calendar. And then get a weekly calendar. What will you work on each week? One week you may want to focus on writing or listening. Another week you may need to focus on speaking or reading. So as you do this, you're setting weekly objectives. You'll need to know how much time you can spend each week. And as you mark your weekly schedule, don't forget, you need to take into consideration everything else that will be on your schedule. Your work or school hours, extra activities you're involved in, your personal time, and your family time. And this is where it's so important to keep a balance. You know, what benefit would success on the IELTS exam be if it brought harm to your relationships with your family? What good would it do to complete the IELTS exam, but not complete the other work that you need to do each week? What benefit would it be to have success on the IELTS exam, but to let your own personal, physical, and mental health suffer? None of these things needs to happen with the right and realistic schedule, which ensures that you go at the right pace. And then finally, have that daily schedule. If you've blocked out 1 hour for preparation on a certain day, set an objective for that 1 hour, like doing 40 listening questions or practicing an outline for writing an essay. So do you know what the secret of accomplishing a big task is? It's breaking it down into small tasks, tasks that you can manage and accomplish one step at a time. Maybe you've heard the question, how do you eat an elephant? How do you eat an elephant? Well, the answer is one bite at a time. So now that you have the right mindset, you have a map and a plan for moving forward, there's one more piece for your preparation. It's making real progress. Measure your progress one step at a time. As you practice each step and skill for improving your English and developing the skills you need for each section and question type on the exam, you will also want to take time to pause and see how you're doing along the way. So maybe after a month or so of practice, you'll want to take the time to reassess your level of English and reassess your IELTS band score. So after a few weeks, I would recommend doing another English assessment and another mock test. When you do these, though, be sure to give yourself enough time in between so that you will see an accurate reflection of your progress. Because if you do them too frequently, your progress may not even be noticeable, and you could endanger the confidence and mindset that you've worked so hard to achieve. But if you do them at the right time, however, you will see real improvement and real progress, and your confidence will increase, and your competence level will be clearer. And here's one of the most important things that you can schedule into your plan. Once you've done another assessment and taken another mock test, and you see the progress you've made, take the time to celebrate. Reward yourself in some way. Go out for dinner. Do something special with your family. Take a couple of days off. But most of all, realize how far you've come. Acknowledge the progress that you've made. And then with this positive feeling and outlook, look again at the areas that still need improvement. You know that with the right plan, you'll be able to do better. You're confident of that now. You know you have the competence to do it. So this is where you'll just do a reset and maybe adjust your map a little bit. You might change a few items on your schedule. By measuring your progress properly, your journey will only become clearer. Your practice will become more and more effective and efficient. You will get the score you need on the IELTS exam. You will get into the university of your choice. You will successfully realize your dream, whatever it is.